Hey guys, thank you so much for taking a few minutes of your day to listen to my podcast. Let me just start out by saying that this is my very first episode. So, this is actually my introductory episode to introduce the reasons why I decided to embark in this adventure and to also basically tell a little bit about what the my intention with the podcast is. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Irene Tellez Pantaleon, and the name of the podcast is Chulas pero Mulas. My co-host is going to be my sister Laura. She's going to be eventually co-hosting as of the next episode, so I'm really looking forward to that. And the reason for this podcast is to speak about the Gen X Mexican American experience as I remember it, and many of the people that grew up in my cohort and within my area all can also remember it. So that's going to be really interesting because I do have quite a few of the people that I know, and also some people that just became friends throughout the years that are interested in talking about their stories and what happened. So basically, what I'm looking for is to understand what happened and who we became, and so what happened to us, what happened when our parents decided to immigrate to the United States in search of that American dream, what happened in that trajectory of life, and who we became now, because most of us are in our late 40s. Some of us have already reached our 50s, and a lot of us are still living in some of the areas that I grew up in Orange County. Some of the people that I know have moved on to other states just because of the economy, because of what is going on currently in our country, and but those are some of the things that I want to be able to talk about in this particular podcast. So I'm really working on my ums, and because I think that's one of the hardest things to have to do with this. And so bear with me, guys. I'm a little bit nervous again. It's my very first time. So basically, it is my belief that our stories are important to tell because many of us share similar struggles that impacted who we became. And I believe that by talking about our stories, we can bring some healing. I know that from personal experience, I have one of the reasons that I decided to embark on this journey was because I believe that there is a lot of things that had some negative impacts within my life's journey that are linked directly to that Mexican American experience. That specific decision that my parents made when they decided to immigrate and leave their home country, leave their families, leave their whole culture, and make a new life in a completely different country that they a lot of our families didn't have anybody else. They were the first ones to get here. A lot of them they never learned, they didn't speak the language, and some of our parents never really learned how to speak the language. Some of them for personal, it was basically a personal decision, and some of them it had to do with just the way of life. There wasn't any time. The struggle was real, pretty much, and those are the things that are of interest to me, because I think that being a Gen X female Mexican American person has really changed my outlook in life. I think it has really kind of helped me to reevaluate who I am at this point in my life, and to take all those, the good experiences and the bad experiences, and just realize that all those experiences put together is what made me who I am, at this current point in my life. And I think that I'm content. I'm at a point in my life where I'm happy where I am in life. But I also have a lot of stories. I have a lot of experiences that I believe other people would be interested in, and that other people can also relate to. And those are some of the things that I want to cover. I want to be able to cover topics that at some point or another have become taboo subjects within our own family, because of our, just because of our cultural backgrounds. So, it's like one of those things que cuando vamos a las fiestas, or we're just at a family reunion and somebody kind of starts talking about something serious, which is usually not appropriate time, but you have the tía, ay, no estén hablando de eso, no estén hablando de cosas tristes, no estén, things like that. So I don't think we ever really have the opportunity to actually express ourselves and express what is really going on in our lives. And at some point, I believe that our lives start to become a little superficial, where it's mostly like, oh, so how are you doing? Do you have a job? Have you bought a house? What kind of car you're driving? What kind of school are your kids going to? Things like that actually, for me, it does feel very superficial. I believe that the value that lies in me has a lot to do with more than what I've acquired throughout my life, throughout time, and what my financial prospects are at this moment. And I don't believe that my worth is about, like, it's not monetary. It's not about money. I believe that my worth has to do with a lot more, with who I am as a person, who I am spiritually at this time, how I see the world, how I relate to other people, and those things are the things that seem to be a lot more important to me at this moment in my life. And this is not to knock anybody down, or by all means, we all have different experiences. We all have different journeys, and we're all on different paths. But I do think there is that thing that links us together, which is that specific experience, that specific immigration experience, the little things that we can now talk about, that basically sum up who we became as adults. And it was those hard struggles. It was living in poverty for many of us. It was growing up in the type of home where we were only able to speak Spanish because our parents didn't speak English. And eventually it turned out to be something positive. It turned out to be something great. And then also talk about, like, what happened to a lot of us that didn't, no les inculcamos eso a nuestros hijos, like those same type of values that were instilled in us. Like, what happened? Like, why did I go from that extreme of being raised in such a cultural Mexican home to really assimilating to the American culture and raising my kids, very geared more towards the American culture than the Mexican culture. And so it's those type of experiences that I think they're important to talk about. They're important to kind of understand, and instead of kind of going at each other because I'm more Mexican than you, it's more about having that conversation and talking about what got us to this point. So some of the topics that I do want to cover in this podcast are going to be some sensitive topics. I do want to have these conversations without censorship. So they are going to be topics that have to do with mental illness, with sexual abuse, with domestic abuse, with I want to talk about the education system. I want to talk about racism. I want to talk about classism, colorism, and it's it's gonna have to. It's those hard conversations. It's those uncomfortable conversations, I should say. So it took me a little bit of, a little while to figure out exactly what the reason for, creating this platform was, and what my ultimate purpose was. But I think I am at just an age in my life where I want my life to be, to be a little bit more than just, again, material stuff. I want my life to be more about who I am as a person at this specific moment in time. And I want to be able to share some of those experiences and how I got to that, to realizing that about myself, and the struggles that I've been through. And, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to raising children, when it comes to relocating and bankruptcy. I mean, those are real things that have happened, to me, to my family, that we just don't talk about, because for some reason it's not appropriate, or for some reason, I don't know, we're embarrassed. I have no idea why that happens. But see, I have an itch. It's been bugging me for a little while, and I thought that this is just a perfect time for me to be able to do something that I'm passionate about. And it's, I am at that point again. I've come back to, I'm at the point in my life, because I'm 48 years old, and the way I used to think when I was, even 40 years old, 45 years old, is has changed, like dramatically has changed. And I believe that I have become a different person because of it. And I'm also interested in knowing if anybody is going through some of those changes, if anybody has come through to some of those realizations, if anybody is going through that spiritual awakening that I feel that that I'm experiencing at this time in my life. I want to be able to make connections that are important, and not superficial connections. I think the social media and the internet has brought a lot of good things, but I also feel that it has also disconnected us in that way that we used to be able to connect before. I think right now it's more of, posting what looks beautiful and not posting what is real. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with me, and that's perfectly fine. I don't expect everybody to agree. I don't expect everybody to feel the same way I feel, but I'm very, very excited about hearing other people's opinions and other people's point of views. I'm very interested in learning about your experiences as well, and giving other people the opportunity to talk about some of the challenges of being a Mexican American Gen X person. So the next episodes are going to be pretty intense. I believe they're going to be. I'm looking to make them fun. I'm looking to make them about who I am as a person, so you guys can get to know me as a person, and also to give people the opportunity to express who they are as people. So with that said, I am very, very excited about this challenge. I am very, very excited about embarking in this journey, and I hope that that I have the chance to connect with a lot of you guys, and hopefully get you guys to come on as guest speakers. So with that said, I will leave you guys. I hope to see you very soon with or be in contact with everybody pretty soon to release some of this the new material, or the new content that I'm very excited about. So until next time, guys, thank you so much for listening.